Speciesism. What is it? In this video, I want to cover what speciesism is, what it implies, and why people have problems with it. Let's get started. Speciesism is not the same as anthropocentrism. You should see my video on anthropocentrism. Speciesism is discriminating against other species, prejudicing your own species as better. But in theory, speciesism is just saying that on the basis of a species is more valuable than other species. It's not necessarily saying anything about human beings specifically. To have prejudice is when you are prejudging. So before you have any experience with a whale, you would judge that particular whale as, say, wanting to be in the water. So if you see a beached whale, you might think, I know, I'm going to help that whale get back into the water, even though you've never asked it, what do you want? Even though it can't tell you what it wants, you just assume, you discriminate. You have prejudice. But the basic idea is that when you see a member of a species, you judge it as having a particular value based on that species relationship by itself. Speciesism involves prioritizing the interests of one's own species on the basis of one's own species. So this is probably something that only human beings would do, and that's why speciesism sounds a lot like anthropocentrism. But technically, this could be done by another species. The implication here is that when you think about your own species and then you prioritize that species' interests, you're creating a hierarchy in which your species, presumably the human species, is seen as more valuable than any other species. And if you think about what human beings do to non-human beings, then you can see speciesism is littered all throughout our practices as human beings. We wear leather, which means that we take dead cows and we take their skin and then we wear it. We eat meat, which means that for lots of animals, we are allowing them to live, or we're even bringing them to life just to kill them and eat them. We experiment on animals rather than experimenting on humans. We kill certain bacteria and viruses and like mosquitoes because we don't like them to interfere with our interests. Think about all of the things that we do to non-human animals, and you'll see that our behavior as human beings is speciesist. We prioritize what we want, which means that we're saying that because we are a human being, our desires and interests and nutritional value and entertainment status is way more important than the suffering of non-human animals when we use them for our own pleasure. Now, why would membership of this species mean that individual member has value that's more important than the value that another species would have? Why would the arrangement of your cells that make up your DNA, which says that you're a human, have anything to do with whether we can use you or whether you can use other things? If somebody can marry but cannot vote on the basis of their sex alone, that sounds like sexism. And here, speciesism, if somebody can kill to eat but cannot be killed to eat on the basis of their species, that's speciesism. Like, why would your genetics or your biology be used to justify what you are and are not allowed to do, or how important you are, what your moral status is? And so the claim against speciesism is that it is really like sexism or racism, that you're using something about your biology to justify something about ethics or politics, and it's unclear what the relationship is. You need to show that either being a member of the species is morally relevant, or you need to show that there is something about that species that makes it justified to do whatever it wants to all these other kinds of animals, but not have it done to themselves.